You know that feeling, right? You make an investment, you watch it just take off, and you feel like an absolute genius. It's one of the best feelings in the world. But here's a crazy thought. What if that big win was actually the worst thing that could have happened to you? Today, we're going to dig into how a good outcome can sometimes teach us all the wrong lessons.
It seems so obvious, doesn't it? If you make money, you must have made a good decision. If you lose money, you made a bad one. But honestly, it's not that simple. We're about to pull back the curtain on why a profitable investment might actually be setting you up for future failure.
Okay, to make this real, let's tell a quick story. Meet Alex. Alex could be any of us, really. Just starting out, excited, and ready to make some moves in the stock market.
So one day, Alex's friend comes along with one of those hot tips. You know the kind. A tiny tech company that's supposedly about to change the world. It's that classic, you gotta get in on the ground floor before this thing explodes kind of pitch.
So what does Alex do? Well, all that talk about research, fundamentals, and due diligence, yeah, that goes right out the window. Alex just jumps in, feet first, putting a big chunk of money into this thing based on pure hope and a friend's tip. By any measure, this is a really, really bad process.
And what happens? The stock goes to the moon. In just a few weeks, Alex is looking at a 75% return. I mean, wow, it's an absolutely incredible outcome from a decision that was, let's be honest, a total gamble.
Alex is on top of the world. That profit feels like proof of brilliant intuition, of being smarter than the market. But right here, this is the trap. The good outcome just taught Alex that a terrible process, investing on a whim, is a winning strategy, and that is a very dangerous lesson to learn. Now, this little mental glitch, this dangerous shortcut our brain takes, actually has a name. It's called outcome bias. It's this hidden trap in our thinking that gets all of us, but it is especially dangerous for investors. So let's break down what it is.
So, put simply, outcome bias is when we judge a decision entirely by how it turned out, not by how good the decision was in the first place. Think about it like this. A surgeon performs a super risky long-shot operation. If the patient lives, the surgeon's a hero, a genius. If the patient dies, the surgeon was reckless. The decision-making process was identical in both cases, but the outcome completely changes how we see it. That's outcome bias in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's this really simple but totally flawed way of thinking. You get a great result? Oh, I must have made a great decision. You get a terrible result? Well, that was obviously a dumb move. This completely, and I mean completely, ignores the huge role that luck and randomness play in everything. Professional poker player and author Annie Duke just nails it with this quote. I mean, she made a living in a world of uncertainty. She knows you can play a hand absolutely perfectly, make all the right moves, and still lose to a lucky draw. Investing is so much like that. As she says, you just can't look at one single outcome and decide if your thinking was good. One win or one loss, it just isn't enough data.
And this table here really brings it home. Look at a game like chess. There's very little luck, and you have all the information right there on the board. So if you lose, it's pretty much because you got outplayed. The outcome is directly tied to the quality of your moves. But poker and investing, they're on the other side. Luck plays a massive role, and you're always working with incomplete information. Your best, most well-thought-out decisions won't always win, and believe me, your worst ones won't always lose.
So if we can't always trust the results, what should we be focusing on? Well, the answer is the process. Let's really see what that means by comparing our friend Alex to another investor. Okay, so on the left, there's Alex, who we know gambled on a hot tip. On the right, let's meet Ben. Ben does everything by the book. He does thorough research, he diversifies his portfolio, he has a long-term discipline plan. But, just his luck, a surprise market downturn hits, and Ben actually loses a bit of money. So, who's the better investor here? Alex got the better result this time for sure, but Ben has the better process, and that's the strategy that's way more likely to win over the long haul. And listen, this is a really tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. You can do absolutely everything right. You can follow a smart, disciplined, well-researched strategy and still lose money in the short term. And that's just how the market works sometimes. It's unpredictable. And on the flip side, you can do everything wrong. You can gamble, chase hot stocks, completely ignore the fundamentals, and get lucky. That's exactly what happened to Alex. The real danger here is mistaking that luck for skill. All right, so how do we actually fight this thing? How do we train our brains to stop falling into this trap and focus on what really matters? Well, the good news is there are some really practical steps you can take.
Let's build your personal toolkit for beating outcome bias. We're going to walk through 4 key strategies. It all starts with just being aware of the bias. Then we'll move on to building systems to protect yourself, learning to have a little humility, and finally, getting into the habit of asking much better questions.
First things first, just knowing that outcome bias is a real thing is a massive first step. Seriously, the next time you score a big win, just pause for a second and ask yourself this one simple question. If this exact same decision had cost me 50% of my money, would I still think it was a smart move? That little mental check helps you pull the process apart from the random outcome.
Second, stop relying on your memory or how you feel in the moment. You've got to build systems. Create a simple investment checklist that you follow every single time. Even better, keep a decision journal. Anytime you buy a stock, write down exactly why you're buying it. What's your theory? What could go wrong? This grounds your decision in logic, not in what the stock price does tomorrow. Number 3 is all about mindset. Be humble. When you win, be honest with yourself. Acknowledge the part that luck played because it almost always plays a part. You have to remember that the market is this powerful, chaotic thing. It doesn't care how many hours of homework you did. A great process improves your odds for sure, but it never ever offers a guarantee. And finally, you have to start asking better questions, both of yourself and of others. So when you win, instead of just celebrating the profit, ask, did I actually follow my process here or did I just get lucky? And when you lose, analyze it. Was there a flaw in my process or was this just a run of bad luck? You want to shift the whole conversation away from what happened to why it happened. That's where the real learning is.
So, after all this, what's the one big idea you should walk away with? It's really about a fundamental shift in how you even define success as an investor.
Let this one sink in for a minute. Your goal is not to be right on every single investment. That's impossible. Nobody can do that. Your real goal is to build a repeatable, logical, and disciplined process that you can trust to give you an edge over the long run. That process? That's the only thing you actually have control over.
So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you open up your brokerage account and look at your portfolio, what are you going to judge? Are you going to judge the short-term outcome, or are you going to judge the quality of your decisions? Your answer to that question will pretty much define your entire journey as an investor.